Good evening. I'm sorry I can't be with you again this year. The day before Thanksgiving, I'm fortunate that my entire family is at my house for our annual Thanksgiving Day celebration. I hope next year you can have your Tdor service early in the week so that I may attend in person, because I love seeing and being with all the people at Ligaly. Okay. I would like to share a recent thought I had involving a neglected aspect of the LGBTQ phenomenon. I know a great number of people. Some are gay, some lesbian, some bisexual, some transgender, and some even straight people. I always stuck on that word straight because I always keep thinking, if some people are straight, does that mean the rest of us are bent, crooked, curved? But I can't think of any other word to describe straight people in just a few words, so I'm stuck with it for now. Anyhow, regardless of how much I study people and how hard I look at each of you in this room, I can't see anyone's sexual orientation. Honestly, sexual orientation just does not show. In case any of you do not have a sexual orientation, I can't even see that you have it missing. Many cases of discrimination against LGBTQ people and straight people is not based on sexual orientation, because like me, people cannot see a person's sexual orientation. What does show and what can bring discrimination on a person is the way they behave, how they express themselves. For example, my father had a cousin. His name was Max. He acted a bit feminine. If you watched his body language, you would swear he's gay or transgender, but he was neither. He was always chasing women and showed no signs of being transgender. I always studied him, as I did most people, for a trace of the cross-dresser, because I wanted everyone to be transgender so that I could be like everyone else. But he was not bent, crooked, or curved. He was very straight. I also know two women who were looking for an apartment, and admittedly, one of them, Lisa, looked and acted a bit masculine. They had a lot of difficulty renting an apartment because they were thought to be lesbians. Actually, they were friends who wanted to share expenses. There are many feminine-acting men and masculine-acting women who draw harmful discrimination identical to what transgender people do. Discrimination based on how people express their behavior involve gay and transgender people, and even straight people like Cousin Max. I don't mean to imply that there aren't situations where gay and lesbian people don't experience discrimination based on sexual orientation, and that gay and lesbian labels aren't mistakenly applied to transgender people. However, there are many situations where how people act or express themselves subject them to harmful discrimination. This lack of recognition of a real problem that affects many gay, lesbian, straight people makes them complacent, especially if they now are part of a protected class in the law. They not only forget a large population besides transgender people, but that kind of discrimination often includes them as well. We transgender human rights advocates fight for both gender identity and gender expression, and so should the gay, lesbian, and straight communities. In fact, every American should support the protection of the human rights of all people, everywhere. I've read a large number of studies to learn why LGBTQ people are transgender, gay, etc. Everything you can think of has been studied, from eye-pupil comparisons to older brother effect. However, when the studies indicate anything related to transgenderism, homosexuality, etc., that something is mostly symptoms and not the cause. We may not know how we got this transgender thing, but we do know we always felt like a different sex, or always felt we should be a different sex than our birth label. I believe atypical gender identity is simply one of the variations from the usual. When you study what takes place in the development of an embryo, a baby, you learn the mother's gestation period is so long and so complex a process that a variation in the child is not only possible but is likely to occur. To demonstrate the natural variability, simply look at the brothers and sisters in a family. It is rare, very rare, that siblings in any family look like each other. No one can find an explanation, cause for that variation either. Regardless of the research and the natural occurrence of our variation, I know femininity is implanted somewhere inside me. It is surely a part of me because I tried and tried, but I could not get rid of the woman inside or even bury her. I have a strong willpower and good self-control. I was able to stop smoking. I overcame a 30-year nicotine addiction, and a habit of puffing on a cigarette reinforced almost 10 million times. I was able to quit smoking cold turkey, but I always failed to get rid of the woman inside me or even control her. My conclusion, the important reality is transgenderism is implanted in us for keeps. Given that fact, we must all accept ourselves as we were made, accept ourselves as is. Since we are stuck with transgenderism, each of us needs to join the fight to protect our human rights, equal treatment, each to his or her ability, of course. We must break the chain that has enslaved us with shame for 2,000 years. There's no excuse to sit idly by. An assumed name can protect your identity on letters, emails, phone calls, and petitions. We must participate in the fight until transgender and all people are free from the ancient evils of harmful discrimination. We must keep up the battle so the hundreds of people murdered each year because they are transgender will stop. So services like tonight's Transgender Day of Remembrance service will be a thing of the past. We must help the world to realize that God made us this way, so he must have intended for us to be this way. Thank you for listening.